in its natural fashion. So starting in this constructive rest position just allows us to land into this moment together, to arrive on the flow of our breath in and out. And to begin to release any tension that we've held onto during the course of our day today into the support beneath us through a variety of different yin and restorative poses that we will be doing tonight. And on your next inhale in, you can come to maybe set an intention for yourself for tonight's class. Maybe it's to breathe in peace and breathe out calming. Maybe it's allowing yourself to just be here now in this moment together. And the theme I have been working with this week in all my classes has been this idea of alignment. And not necessarily a physical alignment, but an alignment between our body, our mind, and our soul, an alignment between how we maybe move on the mat and then translating that into our daily lives, and ways in which we can allow the two to be more aligned. So how we treat ourselves on the mat, maybe reminding ourselves of that as we go into the rest of our evening or the rest of our week. And taking the time to truly rest in these poses and allowing ourselves that gift of quiet and stillness, which we don't often give ourselves. On your next inhale in, come to slowly separate your knees. And we're gonna take a few somatic movements here. So as you take your next exhale, come to hug your right knee in towards your chest. And maybe you're wrapping your hands around your shin or your hands behind your right thigh. And as you inhale, release the sole of your right foot back down to the mat, and then slowly switch sides. As you exhale, hug that left knee in any amount towards your chest that feels accessible for you. And then inhale to release that. And we'll let our breath guide us for the next few rounds. So exhaling to hug your knee toward you in any way that feels accessible. Inhale to release that down. Exhale to bring your knee towards you. Inhale to release that down. And one more round on each side. Breathing in and breathing out. And inviting the breath in as you release the sole of your foot down to the mat. Take a moment to bring your feet to the outer edges of your mat. Take a big breath in, filling up your belly, your lungs, and your chest. Bring your arms into a T shape, and as you exhale, let your knees fall toward the right hand side. And maybe your head will look toward the ceiling, or maybe you'll turn your head toward the left. Taking a version of this knees down twist. Opening up the whole left hand side of our body. allowing more breath into the left side of our lungs. And then inhale to bring your knees back up through center. Exhale to release your knees down toward the left-hand side. Same options for your head. Maybe your gaze is looking toward the ceiling, or maybe your gaze is turning to look past your right shoulder. Inhale to bring your knees slowly back through center. If you have a block, you can come to press into your feet and slide a block underneath your sacrum. If you don't have a block, just grab your blanket and slide your blanket underneath your sacrum. So it'll lift you up slightly. Just make sure it feels supportive for you and doesn't make you feel off kilter in this pose. And come to take a breath in. Take a full body stretch. Lengthen through your legs. So stretching your legs out long on the mat in front of you. And maybe invite a full body stretch, reaching your arms overhead as well. Breathing in here. As you exhale, left leg stays long on the mat, but come to hug that right knee in any amount toward your chest. So maybe your shin is facing toward the ceiling, or maybe you're taking your hands behind the back of your right thigh. You can keep your feet flexed or pointed, but just check in and maybe experiment and get curious with what feels most accessible in your body this evening. Inviting the breath in here, and then taking the long exhale all the way out. On your next inhale, come to lengthen your right leg long on the mat next to your left leg. And then take a moment to hug that left knee in any amount towards you that would feel accessible. Breathing in and breathing out. This is called cradle pose in our yin practice. And if you have any knee issues whatsoever, you can always just keep the sole of your left foot pointed toward the ceiling with a very minimal bend in that knee. To take one more round of breath here. And then inhale to release your left leg long on the mat next to your right leg. Full body stretch, reaching through your fingertips, reaching through your toes. Exhale to release your arms back into a T shape. Step your feet back onto the mat. Press into your feet. Gently lift your hips up to remove whatever propping was underneath you and place it over to the side. And then lower your hips back down toward the mat. Take a moment here in your constructive rest pose with your knees bent in any amount that feels accessible. And maybe just take the side to side windshield wiper action. Breathing in and breathing out. as you're taking that side to side windshield wiper action, maybe you're inviting your head to do a different motion. So as your knees fall to the right, your head turns to the left. Inhaling through center, exhaling your knees to the left, head turns to the right. Inhaling through center, knees fall to the right, head turns to the left. Inhaling through center, sliding those knees toward the left, head turns to the right. Inhaling, coming back through center. Take a moment to hug those knees in toward your chest. And then very gently rolling over toward the right hand side. And pausing. Taking a moment here. And then gently pressing some weight into your left palm to come to rise up. Taking your time. Going to be coming into what's called seated swan. So for seated swan, it's like a version of a figure four. So taking your hands back behind you, your knees are slightly bent, your feet are flat on the mat. Take a moment to take your right ankle and cross it over on top of your left ankle. Now there's some options here. If you want to take this deeper, maybe you're planting into your palms and sliding your bottom closer toward your left ankle. If you want to take it less deep, you're sliding your hips back toward where you began. And just taking a breath in here, opening up our chest. Breathing in, and then holding this pose for the next 5 rounds of breath. Yin invites us to settle into the stillness of the shape of the poses. And it's sometimes when we get quiet that we actually can start to listen to what needs to be heard. If your mind starts to wander, return back to the intention that you set for yourself. Or maybe just remind yourself you're here now. There's nowhere else you need to be. When you've finished your 5th round of breath, take the sole of your right foot toward the left hand side. You can come to turn your head toward the right. Breathing in, breathing out. Inhale to bring your legs back through center. Step your right foot down onto the mat. We're just going to take that directly onto the other side, but let's give our wrists a break. So come up just for a moment and hug in here. So maybe allow your hands to wrap around your shins. Maybe give it a side-to-side action. In Yin, we like these counter poses in between. And then on your next exhale, as you're ready, start to very slowly slide back up through center. Take your hands behind you, and if your wrists start to bug you, you can turn your fingers to face in the opposite direction, or maybe taking your fingers out toward the sides of your mat. So just experimenting there and seeing what feels best for your wrists. On your next inhale, take the left ankle, cross it on top of your right thigh. Inhaling to lengthen here, exhaling to soften into the shape of this pose. To deepen this, again, you can slide forward toward your right ankle, or to lessen the sensation, slide further away from that ankle. On your next exhale, take the sole of that left foot toward the right hand side, taking this as a gentle twist. Maybe you're turning your gaze over past your left shoulder. And then inhale to bring your gaze back through center. Start to bring your legs back up. Allow the left foot to meet your right foot. Take a moment to hug in one more time here. Maybe invite that gentle swaying side to side. And then on your next inhale, start to rise up. We're going to be taking caterpillar pose. So there's a few options with this pose. This is in yang. Traditionally, this would look like a version of a staff pose where you're lengthening through the crown of your head and you're bringing yourself forward. In yin, we want to soften this slightly, so there's a few options. If your knees start to bother you here, you can take a blanket and roll it up, slide it underneath your knees. And if you have a pillow or a bolster, taking that pillow or your bolster, sliding it toward your belly, and on your inhale, just bring your arms almost on the sides of your pillow or your bolster. Take a breath in to lengthen, and then as you exhale, slide forward, taking this caterpillar pose. If the bolster or the pillow starts to impede the depth that you want to go to in this pose, then slide it off to the side and just come to find your full expression of caterpillar. But invite a few breaths in here, finding a depth that feels best for you. Breathing in to fill up your back body. Breathing out to soften to the shape of this pose. Taking 3 more rounds of breath right where you are. Breathing in. Breathing out. starting to slowly deepen your breath. And on your next inhale, coming to slowly rise back up through center. Take a moment here to take your feet as wide as the mat. Windshield wiper your knees left to right. And then invite a stillness, bringing your feet back through center. We are going to take our blankets. So if you have a blanket as it came off the pile, it's kind of in a little square. So take that square and start to just make a short roll with it. So kind of looks like this. And then take this short roll, place it about a quarter of the way down on your mat. We're coming into a supported fish pose. So your shoulder blades are going to be coming off the roll of this blanket. Actually, your shoulder blades are slightly on the blanket, but your shoulders themselves are off the blanket. So the top of your head is allowing itself to work its way down toward the mat. If at all you need extra support underneath your neck, take another one of your blankets or roll up your mat to give your head a little bit more extra. But this is a deeper heart opener. And you have two options for your legs. You can either stretch them out long on the mat in front of you, or bend into your knees, take your feet to the width of the mat and let your knees fall into one another. When we take these deeper heart openers, we invite the breath in. We open up our hearts. We massage some of our organs that may not always get all the love that they need, especially in our back body. Poses like our fish pose here are extremely good for immunity, which in this particular time can most definitely only serve as a beneficial aspect of our practice. You have 3 more rounds of breath here in your fish pose. Take a deep inhale in, and then a long long exhale all the way out of your mouth. Take a moment to slowly roll toward the right hand side. Just enough so that you can slide that blanket out from underneath you. And then rest on your right hand side. Take your right arm out, almost in a T shape, and then let your left arm fall on top of your right arm. And you can stack your knees and stack your hips, keeping a slight bend in your knees. We're going to be doing 2 rounds of clam opener is what I like to call this one. But taking these movements softly. If you find that your neck starts to bug you in this particular position, you can slide a blanket underneath your neck to support you here. But on your next inhale in, start to reach your left fingertips high toward the sky. And as you exhale, open your left arm out toward the left hand side. Inhale to reach your left fingertips up high to the sky. Exhale, left palm meets right palm. Inhale, bring your left fingertips right back up toward the ceiling. Exhale to open your left arm out to the left hand side. Inhale your fingertips high to the sky. And exhale, left palm meets right palm. On this last round, the invitation will be to allow yourself to potentially hold in that twist. So on your inhale, reach your fingertips high toward the sky. As you exhale, let the left arm come out to the left hand side and maybe hold in this T-shaped twist. Breathing in here and breathing out. Two more rounds of breath here. And then once you finish your 3rd round of breath, inhale to reach your left fingertips up toward the sky and exhale to release your left palm towards your right palm. Take a moment to slide onto your back and then gently take this over to the opposite side. So we'll come to stack our hips, stack our knees. Left arm reaches out to the left hand side. Right arm rests with right palm on top of left palm. Inhale to reach your fingertips high to the sky. Exhale to open up toward the right. Inhale, fingertips reach high to the sky. Exhale, right hand meets left hand. Inhale, fingertips high to the sky. Exhale, right arm out toward the right hand side. Inhale, right fingertips reach up. And exhale, right palm rests on left palm. Same option on this last round. Reaching your right fingertips up toward the sky. And then as you exhale, opening up your right arm toward the right. And maybe staying here for 3 rounds of breath. Breathing in and breathing out. At the end of your 3rd round of breath, Gently reaching your right fingertips up toward the sky, and then exhale, right palm rests on left palm. Take a moment to roll slowly onto your backs. And then gently roll to the side to press yourself up just for a moment. We're going to set up for one of our restorative poses. So for this restorative pose, I am going to ask, so you have pillows. I'm going to have you set up your pillow behind you. Take that same short roll. I don't know if you still have it in that short roll, but if you have that short roll blanket, coming to slowly keep that short roll, bringing it toward the back half of your mat. We're going to bring your knees on top of that short roll. Your legs will be outstretched in front of you. Slide your pillow toward you, and then as you exhale, you're coming to rest your spine. You're going to lengthen your spine and exhale to open up here. There are options with your legs here. So if the short roll blanket underneath your knees doesn't feel as supportive as you like it, you can grab one more blanket and slide it underneath your knees. Or you can take the soles of your feet together and splay your knees out toward the side, but allowing your knees to be supported by that short roll blanket, opening up into a version of our Baddha Konasana pose here. And if both of those don't work for your legs, you can also keep a bend in your knees, place your feet flat on the mat, and let your knees fall into one another. Relaxing into the shape of this pose, this final pose, before we end in our restorative Shavasana. And just notice where you can start to soften. Where you can allow yourself to land into the support beneath you. Allow yourself to arrive in this moment. And then let your mind rest in the flow of your breath in and out. Perhaps reminding yourself breathing in and breathing in, breathing out and breathing out. Or maybe breathing in peace, breathing out calm. Come to notice any places where you still might be holding or gripping, and send your breath into those spots. Breathing in and exhale to release and soften. On your next inhale in, start to slowly deepen your breath. Allow yourself to extend a nice long exhale all the way out of your mouth. And on your inhale, start to prop up onto your forearms. Very gently and slowly propping up a little bit further. Taking a bend into your knees, placing your feet flat on the mat. Take a breath in here, and then a breath out. Come to slowly slide the prop out from underneath you. Take a moment to take your pillow or your bolster off to the side. We're going to be coming down into and preparing for our final relaxation pose. And to make that a little bit more restorative, this time the pillow or the bolster will be coming underneath your knees. And you can extend, take the back part of your knees onto the pillow or the bolster. Grab your blanket and just bring it to the top of your mat. What we're going to be doing is placing our head and our neck on the blanket, and then once we get there, if you need to roll up the blanket a little bit further to give your neck and your head more support, we'll do that. But come to allow the backs of your knees to come onto the bolster or the pillow, and then slowly start to lower down all the way onto your back. And once you get there, just notice how your head and your neck feel. If you want more support, maybe you're folding the blanket up one more time. Maybe you're rolling the bottom of the blanket to protect your cervical spine here. And just kind of checking in and noticing, making sure the props feel supportive and that they're bringing the floor closer to you. And then once you feel settled and ready, maybe grabbing any additional layers or maybe bringing a blanket over you to cover you here. Time to take a moment and tense up your fists, tense up your feet, squint your eyes, maybe shrug your shoulders, and then exhale to release that onto the mat. We're gonna do that 2 more times. Take a moment to shrug everything in. In my kids' classes, I call this lemon squeeze face. And then exhale to release that all the way down. And then 1 more round just like that. Tensing everything up and then releasing all of that tension as you breathe out. And coming to begin to soften at the top of your head, the crown of your head. And let that softening sensation start to melt slowly down to your forehead. Let it begin to release any squinting around your eyes or furrowing around your brows. Let your cheeks be soft. Relax your ears. Release any tension in your throat. Keep a space between your teeth and let your jaw be loose and unhinged. Invite your shoulders to release more toward the propping beneath you. Let your arms be heavy. Release Release any holding or gripping in your hands and your fingers. Start to gradually release the muscles of your upper back, your middle back, and your lower back. Allowing your back to be effortless and easeful. Release your hips toward the earth.
Shoot, my battery's low.
I thought that's what that was. Release your thighs toward the earth beneath you. Let your legs be effortless and easeful. And release any gripping in your feet and your toes.
I gotta plug this in. Hold on. We were getting to the good part too. Patient.
Just allow yourself and anything happening even around you to become part of this moment.
There we go. Okay.
And let yourself soften. Just be and just breathe. Release more as you allow yourself to enter in some quiet stillness for the last few moments of class. You have nowhere else that you need to be but here in this moment. So allow yourself to enjoy this moment of rest. Resting is just as important as doing. And you can feel free to stay here for as long as you would like. If you'd like to end your time today together, inviting your hands into heart center. Take a moment to breathe in and bow your head towards your hands and your heart to seal in your practice for this moment.